Welcome, everyone, to our very first CFP information session for the 2026-2027 Equity Stream Fund Program. I am Debbie Douglas, the Executive Director of OCASI, the Ontario Council of Agencies Serving Immigrants. Today's 90 minutes information session is designed to help grassroots community organizations better understand the process to apply for funding through the Equity Stream Fund Call for Proposals, or CFP. Whether you're an OCASI member agency or not a member agency, an incorporated or unincorporated organization, this session will offer practical insights on the application process directly from the source. But first, some logistics. Before we begin our session, I will walk us through a few logistical instructions that can make our individual and collective participation safer and more comfortable. Safety and comfort. Your safety and comfort are important to us. Please be considerate and respectful when speaking and interacting via chat and posting questions. Anyone who violates these norms will be removed from the meeting. If you need assistance at any time, please reach out to OCASI staff by sending a direct chat message to @OCASI_support. Zoom fatigue is real, so do what you need to do to take care of you first. Stay present and be attentive to your body and your emotions. We encourage you to use your real name to facilitate discussion and engagement. But if you prefer to remain anonymous for your own safety, please feel free to change your name on your profile. Please keep your audio muted throughout the session. Please review all the Zoom features available to you at the bottom of the Zoom screen. If you wish to speak, please put up your virtual hand. Click on the raise hand option at the bottom of your Zoom screen. When the presenter calls your name, please unmute your microphone to speak. Please use the chat feature to communicate in writing with other participants. This event will be conducted in English with French simultaneous translation. A warm welcome to our interpreters, Claudia and Mercedes. For French and English interpretation, please choose your preferred interpretation option from the bottom of your Zoom screen. And now, on to our session. And for those of you still looking for your interpretation button, if you press on the globe, if it's not showing up, you will see it will pop up, and you can choose English if that's your preferred language, or French if that's your preferred language. And now to begin our session. And as usual, we begin by acknowledging that the land on which OCASI operates and where today we are hosting this virtual event is part of the Dish with One Spoon Treaty, an agreement between the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and allied nations to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. This territory is also covered by the Upper Canada Treaties. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. Just a bit about OCASI for those of you who are new to us. OCASI is the umbrella organization, and as I said, it's the Ontario Council of Agencies Serving Immigrants. Is the umbrella organization for immigrant and refugee serving agencies in Ontario and the collective voice of the sector. The council was established in 1978 and has over 250 member agencies across the province. OCASI champions equity and human rights for immigrants and refugees through advocacy, collective action, collaborative planning, research, capacity building, and information and knowledge transfer. It is my great pleasure to introduce our team members. Led by Marta Oriana, It is my pleasure to introduce our team who will be speaking to you and who you will be working with over the next months. Yes, Yasin Yasamim, Program Senior Coordinator, and Isabella Hong, Grant Administrator, who will lead the rest of the session. Once again, welcome. Yasin and Isabella, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Debbie, for the introduction. As already Debbie introduced, so we are part of the Equity Stream Fund program. Just quickly making a short presentation of the program. Can you go to the next slide, please? I know that you already have gone through the call for proposal and have developed your understanding of the Equity Stream Fund program, but I just in this section of the presentation would like to provide a short overview of the program, its objectives, and eligibility criteria. Well, the Equity Stream Fund program is a 3-year initiative funded by IRCC. The purpose of this funding is to strengthen the capacity of grassroots community organizations, both incorporated and unincorporated, across Ontario, especially grassroots community organizations that serve and are led by equity-seeking communities. OCASI plays an intermediary role and provides funding to the grantees. The funding will specifically target grassroots community organizations that are not being funded by IRCC to strengthen their presence in the settlement sector. Our support is not confined to funding only. We also provide capacity building, communication, collaboration, and networking opportunities for grant recipients. So here I would like quickly discuss project eligibility. We encourage you to submit projects that are focused on serving or enhancing the capacity of grassroots community organizations that work with refugees, immigrants, and newcomers. And we also encourage you to identify and share issues or needs that are not funded by other sources and align with one of the program objectives, which is organizational capacity building or service capacity building. By organization capacity building, we mean strengthening the internal systems to enable the organizations to operate in the settlement sector. And by organizational service capacity building, we mean delivering efficient and effective services to the grassroots communities across Ontario. We also have organizational eligibility criteria. As I said quickly, that we are distributing funding both for unincorporated and incorporated organizations. So incorporated organizations that have been incorporated in at least in the last 2 years in Ontario and have an operational budget of less than $1 million are eligible to apply for this grant. Also, unincorporated organizations that have been operating in Ontario at least in more than 2 years in Ontario with an operational budget of less than $1 million can apply for this grant. And the period for the proposals that you are presenting starts from April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2027. And the guidelines and also the portal will be available in English and French. And my colleague Isabella will take on the lead and provide an overview of the application process and also technical details. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yasin. Hello, everybody. I'm Isabella Hong, the Grant Administrator for the Equity Stream Fund, and I'm going to be walking you through the application portal. So there are two ways to get to our application portal. One is through the direct link here, and then another is through our OCASI website. So I will show you briefly about what it looks like on the OCASI website. And it is right here. And if you click on it, it'll bring you to the landing page for the CFP. Okay. So as Yasin said, our application is available in both English and French. To switch to French, you will go into the right-hand corner here and click Francais. And it goes to the French version. And for this, because my French is not the strongest, I'm going to switch to English to show you this of how our application portal. So we here on the landing page, you will find key details, as Yasin has mentioned. Previously, our application portal opened on Monday, November 10th, 2025, and the call for proposal closing will be Friday, December 19th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The grant duration is 12 months, and then the timeline for the activities is April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2027. The funding streams for the application is for incorporated GCOs and unincorporated, with both applications being available in both English and French. We go down onto the landing page. It is details and information we have just discussed here. It also discusses program objectives, who can apply, and also the CFP guidelines, as well as how to apply for the application. In addition, our landing page has links for registering for the information sessions and how to contact us if you have any questions. First, I'll click on the CFP, the program guidelines for incorporated GCOs, and show you briefly of what that looks like. So the CFP guidelines, we kind of want it to be the one-stop shop for any of your general questions that you have about the application, including eligible and ineligible costs, timelines, overview of the sections, and any required attachments. So as you can see, this has the same information that is available on our landing page because we want the submission deadlines to be embedded in your brain. And the CFP has a lot of the information we've covered already. And I would encourage you to thoroughly go through the CFP and to please go through it before you contact us with any questions, because we are hoping that the CFP is able to answer any general questions that you may have. So I'm going to go X out here and then show you the unincorporated CFP. It is very similar to the incorporated version, with only a few differences, specific details that are related to unincorporated organizations. So next step is, how do you apply for our application? We have some guidelines here on how to apply. First thing is read the CFP program guidelines, and then register or sign into OCASI's CFP portal, which is up here. You will need an account to create an application and submit an application. So to do so, you will click on My Account here and fill in all the required information that's listed here. Anything that is marked with a red asterisk is required, so you need to fill that out. And please also be sure to keep your password in a safe location. So going back to the landing page, I am going to go sign in with another email address to show you what that process looks like as an applicant. So you log in, you'll see the landing page. To log into your account, you will just log in where it says complete an application, or to access a judging panel, log in. taking its sweet time right now. Okay, there you go. To start an application, you'll click Submit a Proposal and then click Start Application. With our application portal, we are limiting one application per organization. And I know that some of you started the application process on November 10th, but I wanted to let you know if you started it between November 10th and November 13th, you do have multiple applications in it in our system. I will need you to figure out which application you'll be working on because due to system limitations in this portal, we are only allowing one application per organization. So organizations who have duplicates in our system, I will reach out to you to confirm which application you would like to keep. But going back to submitting an application, you need to input the name of your organization. So this is the name that I've been using for testing our portal. And then you will click incorporated or unincorporated. After you click this, incorporated or unincorporated, then you will have the rest of the sections of the application showing up. Very quickly, I will show you a few technical pieces that might happen. So because our application is specific, your organization has to be based in the province of Ontario and providing services to Ontario, this is where one of the checks in our application happens. So if I click no and I click save, then an error will pop up saying that this grant is only available to organizations in the province of Ontario. But if I click yes, then I'm okay. I did want to let applicants know that this application portal does autosave. However, I will encourage you to click save whenever you have completed a question or made a major update to your application because I don't want you to lose any information that you're inputting. So after you've clicked incorporated or unincorporated, you can toggle through the different sections. So for example, if your organization you have multiple people working on an application, you can also readily look through each of the sections to see if to kind of get an assessment of what pieces you'll need. Okay. Let's see. Few things I wanted to note really quickly through our application is, again, anything marked with an asterisk, red asterisk here is required. And then anything has a box here, you can click as many options as you want. Anything with a circle, any questions with a circle, you can only choose one option. Our portal has integrated word counts into the application process. So if this word count for this question is 500 words, it will allow you to type in more than 500 words, but it will not allow you to submit the application. And the same thing goes for word counts of 1,000. So that's what's great about this feature is that you don't have to estimate how many words your response is. It automatically does it for you. Another question or another feature that we have on our application is that some questions will have another question depending on if you click yes or no. Please be aware of this feature, and if you do click yes for this, another question will appear and you will be required to answer it, especially if it's marked with a red asterisk. Okay. Next, I'll be touching on the two different types of attachments that we are requiring. The first type of attachment is the download the template input your information and then upload the attachment. I don't have a better name for that right now. That's a work in progress. But the first section is in section D, project description, and I'll scroll down very briefly. It is the project action plan. What you'll do for this section is download this template here. It's available in English and French. And also something I wanted to note is the accepted file type. We will only accept this file in document or PDF. So I will, after you've completed the form, then you will upload that completed form with your information to the button here. So I'm going to show you the project action plan, and then I have Yasin explain the project action plan.
Thank you, Isabella. I think it's so far it was very good and very systematic. So this project action plan is part of the overall project proposal. Just one thing that I would like to emphasize is that it should be filled considering the overall project proposal section, because there is an alignment between this framework with whatever questions we have asked regarding the project proposal. So there is project description, there are project needs, the needs that have questions that have been focused on the needs or community needs that they are discussing, and also other details. So on the right, on the left side, you see there are deliverables. So it allows you to insert up to 5 deliverables. So each deliverable will have some logical connection with the tasks or key activities. And then you have the indicators of progress or a means of verification. And then you have the timeline. We have not gone through a very detailed timeline saying month by month or week by week, but we have gone through a quarter basis. So uh, uh, the only thing that when you are preparing your application, make sure that this section that you complete, this is somehow a summary of the overall project descriptions that you're giving in the application. So also make sure that whatever tasks you do, key tasks you develop for each deliverable, for example, if a deliverable is for example, deliverable A has 3 key tasks, and then you will also have key 3 indicators of progress, and then also you will have to highlight that in which time you will complete that, or by which time you will complete that, whether it's quarter 1, quarter 2, or quarter 3, or quarter 4 of the year. So there is an alignment. This is like a logical framework for the planning. So this will be also a basis for the next part of the project, which is the monitoring and evaluation. That's also, I'm sure you can go through. And if there are questions that you think it's a bit difficult for you that you don't understand, so we still have another info session and also get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasin. Also, I wanted to make note that we'll be answering questions after this presentation. And I just inserted some fun things here as examples. Okay, so back to the application portal. That was a bit about the project action plan. We will try to answer as many questions as we can during this presentation. And if your question is not answered here, you can send us an email or we can answer it at our next information session in 2 weeks. Okay. So I'll scroll all the way back up. The next lovely attachment that we have a template for that we would like you to fill out and then upload is the project budget. It is in section E, and here are the instructions for the budget as well. The first thing that you will do is download the budget template, and it's okay to say leave. And then it will require you to download the attachment. Please relabel it something else because this isn't, please relabel it something else. Okay, so I will go to the Excel sheet. And for those who are using Google, it is going to be very similar in Google Sheets. If you would like to see a demonstration of how this budget form looks in Google Sheets, please put it in the comments and I can do that. But on the first tab of the budget is the instructions for how to fill out the budget and also definitions for the different categories of costs and also examples as well. Please read this carefully. This information is also available here on the portal right there. So that's the first tab. The next tab is the budget itself. So there are 3 categories to our budget: program delivery cost, administrative cost, and capital costs. The program delivery cost and the administrative cost, actually all of the categories have categorized line items. If we click the arrow right here, there's a drop-down menu that appears that gives you the categories. We have also included the other section, other category line item in the form. And if you're choosing other, please describe it in detail in the comments line right here. And we do have a example of what we want to see in the description line item and comments. On the first tab, row 11 gives you an example of kind of what we're looking for as far as the description. Please include a description in your line item. The more detail you're able to provide, the better for us, especially as we review and check through these budgets. So, sorry. Column C is where you'll put the amount that you're requesting from OCASI. If you have other sources of funding for that specific line item, say your line item is a staff person, please put that amount here and from who. All your costs should be auto-calculated. So if I put $5,000 here really quickly, it will automatically calculate in the bucks here. If you have additional line items, just click on the row, right-click, and then click Insert. Next is the administrative costs. So very similar to program delivery costs, there is a drop-down menu of the categories of line items. Again, please be as descriptive as you can be and as much as possible. This helps us understand specifically what you are using, more custom to use those funds for. As I mentioned previously, the administrative costs will be automatically calculated. One thing that we want to emphasize for this specific grant is that general administrative costs should not exceed more than 15% for incorporated organizations or 10% for unincorporated organizations of the overall budget. And so we have an automatic calculator right here that lets you know if it is greater than 15% or greater than 10, depending on the application fund that you're applying for. If it is more than 15%, please correct it. Please adjust your administrative costs. If it's more than, if it's more than 10%, please adjust the cost for this category. Another thing that we have implemented is capital costs. And capital costs should not exceed more than 5% for all organizations, regardless if you are incorporated or unincorporated. And we have categories for the capital costs too, such as office supplies and equipment. The cost calculator is there again. So if this is 6%, you have to adjust your budget for capital costs. Overall, this budget should be automatically calculating. If you have any technical issues with the budget, please contact us. The last tabs are the eligible and ineligible costs. These are in your call for proposal, but I want to make sure to emphasize that they're also here too in your budget. And these are examples of eligible costs for incorporated, and there's also a tab for unincorporated as well. If you have a question about what is an eligible cost, please contact us. So after this is filled out and completed, you will upload it here. The next document that is the download the template and upload the complete it and then upload it is the board acknowledgement form, which is located in section H, supportive documentation. So if we scroll all the way down here, this is where you'll download the form, complete it, and then upload it. I will zoom in really quickly. These should be fillable in once you open Adobe, and then you can sign it and then upload it. It is only acceptable, its only accepted file type is a PDF. And then don't forget to save. The next type of attachment requirements is the upload your own document. And I will go back to governance structure and scroll all the way down. Maybe it's not there. I will go, I believe it's in program description plan. So at the bottom, there's a question that asks if your proposed project is being delivered in a partnership with another organization. If you click yes, then we will be requesting the name of your partner organization, how the partner organization will contribute to your project success, and also request an MOU. You have to create that MOU yourself and then upload it, and only a PDF is accepted. Next is where you have to create your own documents and upload it is in section H, supportive documentation. Please read the instructions here carefully. Anything that's marked with a red asterisk is required. And you will have to upload your own list of board of directors for incorporated and or list of organization leaders for unincorporated. Both applications require project team job descriptions. That is something you create yourself and upload. For financial statements, you will be required to submit your last final audited financial statements for incorporated organizations. If you don't have your most recently completed audit, you will be required to upload the unaudited statements. For unincorporated organizations, it is, I believe, having a financial statement that's signed off by the treasurer or equivalent and upload that audit or financial statements. The anti-racism policy or plan is an optional document. We are requiring at least one letter of support. You can upload up to 3 letters of support. If you try to upload more than one document, the second document you upload will override your first document. That is why we created this section called additional supporting documents, because in case there's something else you would like to have included in your application, we have these 3 boxes here for you to do so, because it has all of the accepted file types here. Okay. And then the last thing that we want for applicants before submitting is is the acknowledgement form that you understand that if this application is approved, you'll be required to submit updated organizational information. Please check that and then click save. And if you submit an application and there's a piece missing, it'll reroute you to that section and tell you to fill it out as highlighted here in red. And after you If you would like to go back to your application, you'll log in, click My Applications, click In Progress, and then click Edit. If you click Remove, that will delete your application. If you accidentally delete your application, please contact us because I can recover it. After you submit your application, you'll be receiving a confirmation email from equityfund@ocasi.org. And if you don't receive it, please check your spam or junk folder. All right, so I will be going back to the slideshow. All right, here are the important dates because we want to make sure you have this all memorized. Friday, December 19th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, the application closes. And funding streams, incorporated or unincorporated GCOs. The application is available in English and French. And there's still time to sign up for our last information session on Monday, December 2nd from 2 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be having a Q&A section available on our website. Please submit your questions to Equity Fund. I need to correct that on this PowerPoint. By December 5th, and then the Q&A will be posted on our website by December 10th. No phone inquiries will be accepted. Here's another visual of timelines and dates because those are very important. After you submit your application, the review and selection period will be from December 20th to February 15th. Yes, and would you like to add anything else here?
No, I think what it speaks, I mean, this is very visual. And only thing that colleagues have to keep in mind, I mean, participants for the grant, these important dates, November 10. We have issued the call for proposal information session already that is going, and we will have another information session that is December 1st, 2025. So as Isabella discussed, I think most of the questions that you have addressed today, we will try to address those questions. If we don't have the response for that, of course, we'll try to accumulate and also post the Q&A. And also, you can have more technical questions for December 1st, 2025. And then, of course, we'll have a period that we'll post the questions, and also we'll have a deadline that is very important. That is December 19. So from 20th December, we'll start doing our review of the applications, just an information that the Equity Stream Fund will do a very initial screening. We will check that the applications are complete, all the documents that were required are uploaded. If there is anything missing, we'll contact back one by one. And of course, you know that in this call for proposal, it has been discussed that we will establish an independent selection committee who will be responsible to review the applications, compare them, and also score them and prepare a list for approval of the committee, I mean, for the organization. So then it will take some time for a month to go through the applications and prepare the list. And of course, you will be notified of your status, whether you're successful or not, by March 1st, 2026. And then there will be a negotiation and contract signing process that will have to happen. Of course, we will come up with more detailed welcome package where the guidelines and also detailed instructions of how we can proceed for the next steps.
All right. Here's some key takeaways I hope you will take from our presentation. We are limiting applicants to one application per organization. Agencies will be required to attach all requested supporting documentation. That is the one with the red asterisks to their application. An email acknowledging receipt of application will be sent. No extensions will be granted. If your application comes in at 5:01 p.m. on December 19th, I am not accepting it. We are not accepting it. It is going to be deemed late. Applicants must submit proposals via the application online portal. If you have any issues, please contact us as soon as possible. Read the guidelines and the CFP FAQ carefully prior to submitting your application. Please submit early. We all know that technology isn't perfect and things happen, so please submit your application early. If you have any technical difficulties, please contact us at equityfund@ocasi.org. Here is our contact information, and we will respond to your message, your email as soon as we can through here. Any questions? I will stop sharing and look at the chat. So one thing I want to preface before we begin is if you have questions, please type into the Q&A box, and our tech team is standing by to help us monitor that box and read your questions aloud. If you prefer to ask your question live, use the raise hand feature. If you raise your hand, I will call on you. And please, when I do, please unmute yourself and turn on your video if you're comfortable, and then ask your question. We'll do our best to answer as many questions as possible. To give everyone a chance, if you have already asked a question and your hand is still up, I may move on to someone who hasn't had a turn yet so we can hear from them. Now, who wants to go first? Okay, let us.
I believe Usha has her hand up.
Usha. Hi.
Hi, Isabella. Thank you
What?
so much for that presentation. I have a four-part question, but I will be quick so that
Okay.
other people to have the opportunity. So question number one was, you did mention in the beginning that it's a 3-year program, meaning there's grants available 3 years. Is that correct?
No, so the funding is only available for 12 months. And I know our application does seem rigorous, but the reason why it is a bit rigorous is because the amount of funding that is available, because it is not just, $5,000. It is, upwards of
Understood.
six figures for 12 months.
Understood. And will it be repeated in future years? Sorry, I should ask that question. No. Okay. It's a one time.
Good.
Got it.
Just an addition to what Isabella said. Yes, the first thing is, yes, this is the whole life of the program that we refer to as 3-year initiative. So it doesn't mean the funding period. Yes, this call for proposal is exclusively for the first year, which starts from April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2027. So yes, we are considering another round of selecting or providing grant that will happen in 2000 and to the end of 2027, so that will be for 2007. That will have another round, so we'll come with another promotional message, and also we will officially send invitations. But there is something specific about that will not go through an open call process. Rather, we would select best performance based on clear criteria from the existing grantees for another 6 months, who will be funded to implement a specific project or complement the current ongoing project.
Understood. Thank you so much for clarifying. I'm confusing the 3-year term with what you were saying earlier. Okay. Second question is, if we are not focused on serving the Francophone community, do we still need to provide some of the services in French?
There is a section on the application that does ask, are you a Francophone serving or Francophone organization? There are options, additional questions that pop up based off you click yes or no. And I believe if you click no, it'll ask if you offer services in both languages. I hope that answers the question about that.
Okay. I have seen that section, so it
Okay.
looks like it's not a
It's not a requirement.
It's
No.
not a requirement,
It's
no.
not a
Yeah.
requirement.
And
That's all right.
programs will not be evaluated on if they serve Francophone, they identify as Francophone organization.
Got it.
It is what we wanted to make sure that the application is equitable to allow Francophone organizations to apply.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Thank you. Last quick questions. Software licenses, are they considered capital costs? I know you had your drop down. I'm not sure what they would be still under operations cost, I would imagine, or maybe not include them at all.
I think that has been detailed in the project budget. If you look that section where
Okay.
there is a description of the administrative cost, program cost, and capital cost, we clearly have mentioned these examples. So I'm sure you will get the answer there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And last question is, if we are partnering with another organization, are we allowed to allocate some part of the budget to that partnering organization to help us with the delivery of the project?
I can answer that.
Yes, yeah.
Partnerships. Hi, my name is Marta Arellana. I am the manager for membership and equity. Partnerships are allowed and are actually encouraged in any way if you identified a partner organization to support your program. However, funds remain with the applicant organization. It's not to be sure because the conditions of funding does not allow for redistribution of funds to third parties after the ultimate recipients who will be, the grant recipients to share those fundings with other organizations. Unless it is for within your program delivery.
Service. Okay.
Like a workshop being offered by a partner organization to your clients and on a specific topic, then you can build it in, but it is not to distribute your grant between you and a partner organization.
Understood. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will lower my hand now and
Do we have additional questions? Please raise your hands.
Rita.
Rita has a
Sorry.
hand.
Rita. Feel free to
Hi,
unmute
thank you
yourself.
for taking the time. I just wanted to make a quick question. Do you have an example of a successful project? Number one, if you can share that with us. And also number two, what if we are not concentrating on the capacity building, but also on the project delivery, on a service delivery? For example, employment, how to coach women in employment with diversity and so forth. Would those projects also be on the radar screen, or it has to be mainly capacity building? Thank you.
Well, it is two streams. Either your proposal focus on organizational capacity building or service capacity building. So you decide. If it is a project that will strengthen the capacity to provide services or a program developed to work with equity-seeking communities, please feel free to develop your proposal as to in the area of service delivery. If it is in any case that you want to strengthen your organizational capacity in regards to working with your board, developing policies, developing guidelines and other things that strengthen your organization, then feel free as well to build your project as such. But it is the decision of the applicant what is it that you want to do and how you develop your program, your project.
Okay. And what about the example? Would you be able to share with us an example of a successful application?
So I answered this question in the Q&A that's happening. And the reason we cannot share a successful example, for one, because this is our first time administering this grant. We do encourage applicants to complete the application to their best of knowledge and experience, and that's how they will be reviewed.
Good. Thank you so much.
Would you like me to read a few of the questions from the Q&A before we take another hand, or?
Sure. Go ahead.
We have some hands up actually. It's Sultana.
So after Sultana, I'll read.
Okay.
I have one question that the project has to be, can we target both, like organizational capacity and service delivery capacity together? Or it is only organizational capacity or service delivery capacity?
Could I take on this question, Mata? I will just discuss this quickly, and please complete the details if you have more. Well, this is a question that also was raised by another participant. Yes, of course, you can propose projects that align with both of these or one of these only. So you either could use all the resources to develop systems that build your long-term organizational capacity, such as policy development procedures, creating systems that enable you to sustain your programming and also service delivery for the long run, which is organizational capacity. But when we talk about service delivery capacity building, it's a mix of short-term strategies plus the service that you design to deliver to the grassroots community organization that you're working. For example, just as an example that has also a lot of examples have already been provided in the guidelines as well. So if you design, let's say, a tool for data collection, that is more lean toward service capacity building. Or if you design a project that you engage with the community, solicit their feedback, or support a short capacity building program, that is a service capacity building program. But I'm sure if you look to the guideline, already there are myriads of examples several examples that you could look at. But as Isabella said, we also leave it to the expertise, experience. We understand that most of the organizations who have participated in this call for proposal, they already have the expertise, knowledge, both of organizational capacity and service capacity building. Yeah. Martha, would you like to add anything on this question?
No, you answer it pretty well. Is that clear, Sultana?
Yes,
Marta,
it's clear.
Marta, if I
So-
may,
Mhm.
our organization, our groups able to apply for funding to deliver a service. So, for example, are they
Yes.
allowed to deliver employment services? And will that cover that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Debbie. Just let me clarify a bit to make it clear for the participants as well. So what is the purpose or the final outcome of distributing grant for capacity building? The final outcome is reaching the community and making a community impact. If an organization has already the capacity that can design programs, establish community relations, and deliver the services. So it means they have less need for capacity building, they are ready for service capacity building. So this service capacity delivery itself is a kind of capacity building because they are building partnerships, they are identifying community needs, or they are delivering services that are needed most by the community. So I would say that yes, organizational capacity building is one of the areas, but if you are already ready to deliver services or you propose projects that address a very pressing community needs, you're most welcome. And that's what we want. That's the outcome of our program as well.
So do we go to the question and answer? Teresa, do you have questions?
Yes, we have an anonymous participant submitted as an unincorporated GCO. Is it possible to apply with is it possible to apply with a partner organization that can act as our trustee? For example, if the group is already trusteed or asks a community partner with charitable status familiar with community to support the grant, how does OCASI match GOC orgs with partners? How do you ensure that successful recipients' autonomy is respected? How do you ensure connections don't drain, complicate, or frustrate the already limited capacity of grassroots organizations, which often happens with larger scale grants or government funded grants?
Martha, would you like to respond to that?
I can. The first one is a very loaded question, so I'll try to see all the components of that question. The first one is the trusteeship. Unfortunately, this program will not allow for organizations to use a trustee. Organizations will be funded directly, whether they are incorporated or non-incorporated, or whether they are making use of a trustee for other sources of funding. This is specifically because of the regulation, the requirements, and some of the guidelines that IRCC has. The funds to ultimate recipients cannot be have to be distributed directly to the recipient, not to a third party, and trustees are considered a third party. So unfortunately, that component, as we had built it in within the initial intention of this project, especially for unincorporated organizations, to make use of trustees to channel those funds. Unfortunately, that is not something that it is within the guidelines from IRCC. So organizations that successful will be getting their funds directly. Then the other part of that question is how will match. There is a component of mentorship. There is a component of mentorship instead of trusteeship. There is a component of mentorship, and OCASI will be matching, especially unincorporated organizations, with partner organizations if the project will be matched for mentorship support. But so that is, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And then the ensure that successful recipients' autonomy is respected. I think we will try our utmost efforts that the autonomy and the individuality of organizations remain intact. There are processes in place for ensure accountability. And as much as we try to make this process easy to understand and simple and easy to access, there are some requirements that have forced us to put certain requirements in place for incorporated and unincorporated organizations. But we will definitely, we understand all of the organizations that are applying will be, individual autonomous organizations. So we don't go in trying to tell you what to do. It is just we will try to support you as much as possible within the parameters of the program. And then I think that's how to ensure such connection don't drain, complicate, or frustrate the already limited capacity of grassroots organizations, which often happens with larger scale grants or government funded grants.
That is why we have MOUs in place, and that if you're working with a partner organization, that every single, like both parties of that MOU understand what their expectations are and what the parameters of that agreement partnership are. Because we don't want it to get into situations where these two organizations don't get along, because we don't want to have to intervene in that.
Yeah. even if organizations apply, let's say they suggest that, okay, we are two partners applying for one project, but still we recognize the lead organization who applies and who submits the MOU as the responsible organization for the project. But relating to the previous question, that was about how you ensure autonomy of the organizations that are matched with a mentor. So there is a clear, there is a clear guideline we have agreed with our partners. We have three core partners who have the responsibility of providing mentorship in areas that are required by the applicant. It is not something we don't force an unincorporated organization to receive those mentorship, but yes, that's a requirement. But they will require, so they will see if they, for example, if they have a problem with project planning, so they will receive advice from the mentor. If they have a problem with reporting and ensuring compliance with OCASI standards and procedures, they will refer to the mentor. And also they will make sure to keep proper documentation because we assume that for example, this unincorporated organization has less experience than those incorporated organizations. So this will ensure, as also Martha said, that they will directly apply as the main organization. So the mentorship role will be more supervisory, more advisory, not something intrusive, or they don't have any role to interfere in their day-to-day affairs, planning, and also priority setting. Yeah.
I also wanted to answer the question really briefly about the trustee question. There is a question in section, I believe it's section D, or there is a section, it's in financial accountability. That question is mainly there just to ask about, do you use a trustee for your financial management? And that is it. That's the only question about trustee. But I would prefer to what Marta said previously about trustee. Okay. Next question.
I believe Siley has their hand up.
Okay.
Hi, yeah.
Siley.
Hello,
ahead.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. I want to thank all of you for this great info session and a warm thank you to the OCASI team for making this information accessible. Just on the note of autonomy, and I really appreciate whoever brought up this question, as a lot of many funding streams and applications will sometimes unintentionally, but systemically exclude a lot of grassroots groups by requiring so many additional verifications, right? And so I'm just wondering if are there any other requirements when it comes to unincorporated grassroots groups specifically who may have more of like a behind the scenes presence? Maybe they're not as formally out there, whether it's for reasons around safety or privacy. And so I'm just wondering if there's additional sort of requirements that you will ask for those groups. And I'm also wondering if there is a sort of rough time commitment or schedule that you can provide us of outside of the program implementation, what is the actual time of the mentoring / capacity building piece, if you can speak to that. Thank you.
Martha, would you like to respond to this question?
Yes, we are very aware what are some of the situations and circumstances, especially for unincorporated groups serving communities that are not necessarily so present but they are doing they do have a profile within the community and they are doing amazing work. That's why this is one of the projects out of the 4 national projects that decided to include to fund unincorporated groups. I have to say that I think, but within the context of this question, an incorporated organization can apply to to $100,000, and unincorporated organizations can apply up to $50,000. And we're doing. Of course, there are less. We're going to be able to, with the resources that we have, we're only going to be able to fund 22 organizations for the year. So we understand that that's not even, a significant number compared to the need that there is out there. So we want to ensure that the processes are in place that will that will make it easy for groups to, especially unincorporated, to respond to a call like this and provide all the information that that is required. That's why we didn't do it so strenuous, but still we needed to put some measures in place to make sure that there is that follow-up that is needed in order for organizations to be able to keep us updated and keep up to date on how their project is moving along. So, sorry, the second part of your question was?
Oh, what is the sort of approximate time commitment?
Oh, the time commitment for the capacity building, right?
Yes. Is it like monthly meetings? Is it quarterly?
It is going to be a capacity building plan is going to be developed and is going to be offered throughout the year.
Okay.
So we might be one session every 2 months, one session every month. We still don't know. It depends. We conducted a needs assessment, and out of the needs assessment, we did recorded some of the priorities areas for capacity building sessions. So we're working on developing a capacity building plan that is going to be offered. And it's going to be open to, beyond those funded organizations. Is going to be offered across the board. However, for those funded organizations, it will be mandatory to attend.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You asked also about, I think, requirements. So the requirements are already elaborated sufficiently in the guideline. If you refer to the guideline for the unincorporated organizations, you will find all the requirements. But I'm sure in terms of documentation, less documentation is requested from unincorporated organizations compared to those incorporated versions.
And I'm sorry, could I trouble you just because I was looking on the website? Are you able to drop a direct link to this info package that you're referring to? Is that possible?
Yes. Let me drop the direct link to the
Yeah.
application portal so it's there, because I know it's not the easiest to access. So I will do that.
Yes, I had to Google it. Thank you so much, Isabella.
So, Alicia?
Hi, I just wanted to ask if you're incorporated but you don't have audited statements because you never made 250,000 a year, are you still able to apply?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for that, I think it is required to, even if not you don't have audited financial statements, it is signed by the board or by the treasurer of the board, they will be accepted.
Thank you.
I think there was also a question in the chat box about what qualifies. I think it was said similar to this.
Yes,
What
there are
qualifies
two
incorporating?
questions.
Yes, please.
There are
Can you read
there are
that?
two questions about audited statements. So one, what are the what requirements are there for audits for all GOCs? And what if organization does not have audited books and they are applying for focus area 1?
So
I think those went together.
that is actually so if the question if what I understand is that it's about the audited and unaudited financial statements. So I think that was elaborated by Martha, that if you are an incorporated organization and you don't have an audited financial statement from the last year, so still you can submit your financial statement that is signed by one of the person, the executive, so the chair of the board of your organization. That has already been responded to.
Okay.
But if they are referring to, I think regarding the fund amount, also we also discussed for unincorporated organizations, there is a limit up to, or we could say the highest range is 50,000. So, but it also depends to what proposal they are making, because the evaluators or educators will be the people who will decide about the amount, not as. So there is a range, yes, from the highest range is 50,000, but of course, it depends to the reasonability of the project, what they are suggesting. So of course, the evaluators look at that as well. And for in-corporate organization, that is the highest amount, or the maximum possible amount is 100,000. So of course, then there is an autonomy with the judges. They can look at the project budget, and also the reasonability of the cost of things. So they may also look and suggest revisions. So those are things that we can discuss later. The rest, all general information is included in the guideline for unincorporated incorporated organizations.
See, Deanna has their hand up.
Yes. I think for me, I can see the meeting is recorded, so I was wondering if the recording will be shared.
This information session, if the recording can be shared?
Yes.
Yes, we are recording for the purposes of eventually sharing the recording, but in any case, there will be a second session, December 1st, if any of your colleagues or if you want to attend again with more elaborated questions after you have the opportunity to see the guidelines and go to the application portal. But yes, we have the intention of sharing it in some way of form. It might be with in a general sense, like posting it on the landing page, or sending it through to people who registered for the session.
All right. And the Q&A and the questions that are in the Q&A part of this meeting will also be posted, right?
We are going to have a question and a Q&A section also.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. The next question in the Q&A box is, can we apply for settlement services that are currently funded by IRCC due to many programs that were cut in April?
Short answered, no. These are not funds for, unfortunately, IRCC funded organizations are not eligible to apply.
Yes, we actually, it's clearly stated in the guideline as well that if we encourage you to propose projects that are not currently funded or in the past funded by IRCC or other sources of funding. So it's more focused towards capacity building and service delivery, that for the first time you have identified an issue or a community need that is unique and that's not shared with other organizations. Yeah.
Okay, next
I dropped
question.
Okay,
sorry.
sorry. I was gonna say I dropped the link for the portal in the chat as well. So please save that link. Okay.
The next question is, will you accept a letter of support from an organization that shows their willingness to partner instead of an MOU?
We are considering letters of support quite separate from, because letter of support is to demonstrate that other organizations are familiar with your work, and almost it's almost an endorsement of your proposal. MOUs are different. MOUs is a partnership agreement. So we will look for an MOU rather than a letter of support, and we could share samples of an MOU if that would be useful for organizations. And it doesn't have to be something too elaborated. It's just something simple, specifying name of organization, all the contact information at that organization, and what is the partnership agreement? What is it? What is the role of the partner organization in the proposal? So an MOU, it is definitely favor over a letter of support.
Yes.
Okay. And last question that's in the Q&A. What if an organization has been in existence for more than 2 years, but incorporated for just under 2 years? Can they still apply?
If that is,
Um,
yeah, please.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think if that is, so it depends to the type of organization. If an organization is so, what I assume from the question, they are thinking of an incorporated organization. So because the eligibility is already defined, it's more than 2 years, not less than 2 years. So if for incorporated organizations, we assume that the organization that has been or has spent off more than 2 years since the first day of incorporation can apply, not less than that. So that's an eligibility criteria that you cannot change. Uh, uh, Martha, what is your understanding on that?
Yeah, I think as long as you can define the history of your organization, when it was created, some of the activities that you have you have been involved in the past. It is up to, I guess, the review committee to determine if that makes the organization eligible. Of course, we don't want you to invest time in preparing a proposal, and at the end of the day saying, well, because you're not incorporated for more than 2 years or for 2 years, you become ineligible. I think that should not be, or hopefully will not be, a challenge if the organization can prove that they were created longer than 2 years and they have been active within the community for more than 2 years.
That's all the questions currently in the Q&A.
So this is the last opportunity for you to ask any other
Any questions? I'm gonna answer some technical questions that may come up very quickly related to the portal, because I know that will happen. I will just share my screen again just to see the portal. One thing I want to emphasize is technically two people can work on the same application at the same time. However, I do not recommend it because you can easily override your work. And if you're from the same organization, you have multiple people completing the application, I encourage you to share your login, but also make sure two people are not working on the application at the same time, because you may lose the information in our portal if two people try to work on the application at the same time. Again, if you have any general questions, please scroll down to our CFP and click on the guidelines, and it will answer some of the questions that we have kind of covered in this information session. If you have any technical questions with the portal or any questions about, say, like capacity building, and please contact us. We will not advise or provide input about the content of your application. We are here to provide technical assistance. And this was a question I did see on our multiple times during the information session. There is no minimum amount that can be applied for. However, there is a maximum amount that can be applied for. And that information is in the CFPs for the incorporated application and unincorporated. It is also available here in the project budget in the first tab under funding amounts. It lists the maximum that you can request for incorporated and how much can be requested for unincorporated. But no, there's no minimum you can apply for. If you're going to apply, I would just encourage you to apply for the maximum amount. Okay.
Oh, I think I have one more.
Mhm.
Oh, no, it was Can a LOS be evidence of length of existence?
What is that abbreviation?
Letter of support.
Letter
of
Okay.
support. Yep.
Thank you.
Can a letter of support be, I'm sorry?
Evidence of length of existence. Can that prove how long they've been around as an organization, I believe is another way to.
Right. That's a good question. We can discuss it and see and get back to whoever asked that question. Because a letter of support might not necessarily document your history. So we want to make sure that there is, some evidence as to some of the work that you have been doing, and with what communities you have been working with, what issues you have been addressing, what campaigns, if any, what services have your offer? Have you done it in partnership with other organizations? And that model is very common, and it's very that organizations, especially unincorporated organizations, will partner with incorporated organizations, and they will filter services to communities through that, sending, their in collaborating with those organizations for service delivery to communities. So it wouldn't hurt, honestly, but if there's anything else that can strengthen
They have a follow-up statement for that. So if this letter of support documents the previous partnerships before the incorporation.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt. It will be a decision of the selection committee if they feel that documents like that is enough as a proof of the history of the organization.
Yes, to support what Martha said in this regard, I think in the application, there is a specific section that talks about the post-project experience. There is a specific question that requires you to provide details. Say, have you implemented similar grant or similar projects in the past? What was the scope? Who were the beneficiaries? I think that is including both incorporated and unincorporated applications. So that is for this purpose, to collect evidence. And also when it comes to the project section, we are say provide a project description or discuss a community or need or issue. They also share testimonials or evidence. So if you have already worked within the community, you already have a lot of evidence, stories and anecdotes or documents that supports your project. So those documentation and evidence and impacts that you have made in the community will be reviewed by the evaluators, and that will make your strength for being selected. Yes.
Sorry.
Final hand.
Hi, sorry. I know we're about to just log off, so I'm going to make it quick. I'm just taking a look at the info package for unincorporated GOCs around the financial accountability section. I think this was touched on previously in the session around what financial documents to provide. So I just wanted to confirm. What I heard in today's session is that it wouldn't make an application ineligible if, let's say, a group or organization didn't have those records. But I'm just wondering if you can provide some examples of what financial reports or statements would be preferable or you would accept.
So it takes time at least. What I recommend is if you go through the guideline, these things have been discussed in details. But for the moment, what I could say is that when it comes to documentation regarding financial documentation regarding documented as incorporated and incorporated organization, they are a bit different. Isabella, can you provide some details on that? Yes.
Yeah. So I will just, I'm a very visual person, so I'll just start by sharing my screen very quickly. and show you kind of what the unincorporated side of the application looks like for financial management or accountability. Uh, Of course, my screen likes to take its sweet time right at the end. So I'm at unincorporated, and if we click on section F, financial accountability, we do ask you for your organization's income and expenses. If you're able to provide like a spreadsheet that's signed or a ledger that is signed, that is acceptable. But we also understand that financial pieces come in multiple pieces. We know that audits don't come in one big file. And that is why we have added this additional supporting documents button here, because these files would only accept one file. And if there's additional financial documents that you would like to provide, this is your opportunity to do so. But for unincorporated financial reports or statements, a ledger is fine as long as it's signed. That summarizes your operations. That will be acceptable.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm because, like you said, like for our group, we often have to be very creative when it comes to sort of managing funds and knowing where to distribute it. And so we may have, let's say, a leadership fund that's set up through a trustee. So I guess my question was like, were you looking to ask us more about our capacity to handle finances versus record of finances? So I guess, yeah, that was also a question that I thought of.
That is a
records?
bit, yeah, that is
Records.
actually, yeah. So, yes, some of these things are already discussed in the guidelines. So what we are looking for is more the capacity to manage grant of similar nature,
Got it.
because we want to make sure that unincorporated organizations who receive these grants, they will have responsibilities. So we want to make sure that there is, while we facilitate this opportunity for unincorporated organizations, unlike other partners in the region, so we want to make sure that they are able to manage the fund successfully. They are able to comply with the regulations that are defined by our finance team, that they are able to document the process. So something that should show that you have done a similar project in the past, or you have a record, at least an Excel sheet of day-to-day financial management plus the capacity. So the questions, as Isabella showed, it is not only about day-to-day financial transaction management, but also there is a question about how you track or manage this grant for the purpose of this project. So there is both a kind of a record of financial management, at least a very basic one, like let's say a ledger or something or an Excel sheet, plus your ability to manage this grant for the purpose of this program. Yes.
So there's the records that we're requesting, and then the narrative for how you will implement this grant in the question section about financial accountability.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone.
There's one more question. Are there any restrictions regarding who may provide letters of support?
There are no restrictions as to who can provide letters of support as long as they can speak out to, what is it that you support your project and the role that you play as an organization or as a group. So it would be ideal if it is letters of support from organizations you have worked before or your organization has worked before. But we're not going to restrict it as to who can provide it. The only thing is, please refrain from letters of support from individuals. It's more like we're looking more, even though they're not excluded. We will encourage not to, but more interested in organizations that can attest to the work that you have done in the role that you have played within communities that you serve.
Are we done with the questions? I think we are
Going
already
once.
reaching time.
Going
Yes.
twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if there is no question, I would like to thank everyone for being very passionate and also asking very informative, insightful questions. Yes, some of those questions that you answered, that you provided were general questions that we tried to respond to. Hopefully that has been informative enough for you. Uh, you may come up with more technical questions. So if you think that you have similar questions, so keep for our next info session, register for December 1st, 2025. And as also Isabella said, she will be ready to provide technical support, at least 15 minutes dedicated technical support if you have problem with how to navigate the application, how to log into the system, how to save your application, how to restart on your application. Those are technical details that she will be ready to provide support. But of course, the 15-minute dedicated you could say consultation will not be focused on general requirements that have been included in the guideline already. Also, I would like to thank our colleagues, Claudia and also Mercedes, who have been providing interpretation throughout this long info session. So, as you just as we finish the meeting, you will receive an assessment on the today's info session. So please complete that assessment form. That will be very helpful for us to tailor our future info session more to the needs that you have, the information needs. So let's be in touch and also you see, as Isabella said, we have equity fund at ocasi.org. You can contact us anytime if you have any question regarding the whole process, the requirements, whatever, if that is not clearly or sufficient respond in the guidelines. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
It's just us.
Yeah, my team members left.
Yes, they did.
Oh, we're gonna summon them
Excellent.
back.
Excellent session.
Oh my God.
We can stop recording now.
Yes, please.